Hello, welcome to What Are We Thinking, a program that takes a comprehensive look at the problems facing our communities, how we got there, and what we need to do to get back on track. You're not going to like everything I say, but I say this. I say it because I love you with the love of Christ. Got my main man Malik here, who got me doing this program, and I thank God for him because, yeah, I'm the type of person you really got to grab by the neck and make him do some stuff. So here I am. But pay attention to what I say. Try not to find the insult in it. That's the thing I find out about us, that we find the insult in everything and never find the learning or the good in it. And I didn't get here by shunning what people said to me. I learned my lessons along the way. And like my pastor says, you chew the meat and spit the bones out. Where there was a lot of meat for me to chew to get up where I'm at right now in terms of what I use to rationalize our different problems and what we need to do about them. Believe me, I love us. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. Yes, sir. So where you at, Malik? And I'll tell you, I love that intro.
Yeah, that intro is fire though.
Yeah, it's definitely powerful. I
Uh-huh.
love that. I love the way it come in. It's hard hitting, just like us.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So today's topic, we are going to be talking about the Khan Academy, talking white and cooning.
Yes, sir.
So we start out with the Khan Academy. So what is that about? What direction are we trying to go with that?
You know, we have technology now, and no one knows how to use that technology better than our children. But that just means adults need to get up to speed because there are certain things our kids are accessing that are not good. I always told my daughters, the internet is 90% a blessing from God. It really is. The information highway, anything you need to know is there. But it's no, let me say that over again. It's 10% the blessing from God, the technology where you can get any information you need, but it's 90% the devil. Because any doggone dirty, underhanded, corrupt thing you want to get into, learn how to do, learn how to make, is on that internet. And that's why it is important that we guard at least our children to a certain age on what they do on this internet. Now, for a lot of you people who have given your children cell phones, if you don't put any kind of lock or a keystroke reader to know what they're doing on it, then you don't want to know. And whatever comes from it, comes from it. I'm gonna give you a real quick story on what I mean. My daughter, I told my daughters I wanted them to all have track phones. None of that, texting, visualizing, all that stuff. I just wanted them to be able to get in touch with us, and that's it. All right. So I'm talking to my daughter one day, and I'm talking to her mother, and I'm telling her this is just how easy this is. Your daughter or son gets online. They're talking back and forth with what they think is the picture on the other side of that conversation. And they're talking and they're talking and they're getting their little feelings up because every day, I mean, even adults do it. You look forward to talking to that person you've been talking to for a week. So they talk to this person every day. And then all of a sudden they decide, let's meet. Okay, now when they meet and your daughter or son walks to the place where that person is, and it's not a kid their age, it's an adult waiting with a car to snatch them in. This is just how easy we make it now. Everybody has this thing about saying, oh, it won't happen to my kid. It won't happen to my kid until it does happen to your kid. And then, all hell breaks loose then, but you didn't want to listen before. Okay, now I'm talking about the technology for a reason. I'm very surprised at the amount of people, black and white, that know nothing about the Khan Academy. Malik, you want to put that emblem up? The
Yeah.
Khan Academy? Yes, the Khan Academy. Listen to me. This thing, you talk about a blessing from God. This person with visuals, I'm talking about video, teaches your kid from kindergarten all the way through college, whatever they have, macro and microeconomics, computer tech, psychology. I mean, they have these subjects on the Khan Academy, but most important is they have all of the subjects and subject matter for our children to be able to get through kindergarten through the 12th grade with great grades, as long as you put them on it and make them pay attention. Like I always say, black kids suffer from the lack of understanding of math and the lack of reading comprehension. And they all go hand in hand because a lot of math questions now are not just straight math formulas. They're math questions. Johnny had 12 apples. He's got 4 friends. How many apples does each friend get? That type of thing. You know, so now it's reading and understanding. Black kids are behind the 8 ball on everything. We're running last in everything except dropouts, expulsions, and failing. We're running first in all of those, and nobody seems to care. Listen, this is a tool. Just like your kid can go on his phone or her phone or the computer and mobilize a fight and all meet up at a park and have a gang brawl, they also have this. And this proves to me how we are using the internet, because we're not using it to get the education that it offers, and it offers a great education. But the Khan Academy, to me, that is number one. I don't care what break, I don't care what time of day. When your child comes home from school, you make them do their homework. And then sometime during the day, make them sit in front of that computer for a half hour to an hour. All right. This is after they do their chores. Now, this is a responsible parent doing a responsible kid. All right. This is not what we're facing in the hood. Sorry. There's no responsible parents out there. These kids are governed and raised by their video games and YouTube and all this other stuff. So this Khan Academy, it teaches everything. Our kids should not be failing anything with the resources they have. And this Khan Academy is the first one. KHAN Academy. Google that, open it up. It's free. It's free. They're not asking for anything. It's free. Some Indian guy or Middle Eastern guy did this all on his own. That's his God's work to society. And I'm telling you, man, you're not going to find anything better than this. People, in the summertime, black kids lose 90% of what they've learned because there's no reinforcement of it. Put them in front of the computer and put them on the Khan Academy an hour a day in the summer, a half hour a day during school. Find out where they're struggling. The Khan Academy will point particularly to that problem and help you solve it. Let's get on our job. We're failing our kids. Our kids are not failing us. We're failing them. And everything that happens bad to them, you can rewind that clock and look at what you didn't do as a parent. And I'll say this, I always say this, I'll say it 1,000 times. Our children are God's science project to us to see if we understand his principles and his word. And if you understand God's principles and his words, you will raise and guide and lead and gear your children in the right direction. The Bible even said you train them up in the way they should go. All right. It's our job. And that's why we hurt when they fail. That's just the way it's going to happen. When they fail, when they go to jail, when they get shot, all this stuff that happens to them bad out there, can't get a job because they can't even fill out an application, read or write. When all that stuff happens, if you are any kind of a parent, it hurts you just as much as it's going to hurt that kid. But it's going to hurt that kid more because their future is totally damaged by what you didn't do right. That's why the Khan Academy, every day, set it up, put it in the history of your computer, put it in their phones if that's the only way you're going to get any kind of attention out of them. And if you are a weak parent, it's time to get strong. We are not passing 50% of our young black people. And if the blind can't lead the blind, it's 50% this generation. It's 75% of our kids that are going to be failing the next generation. And then worse than that, the following generation. You have to get a hold of this now. I got friends who got mad at me about the things I said 15, 20 years ago, who are now coming to me saying, I wish I had listened to you. You were absolutely right. It's like I had a crystal ball seeing where we were headed. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know when you got a messed up thing, it can't get better on its own. The Khan Academy, put your kids on it. I'm going to try and talk about that, or at least lead you to that on every program in the beginning of it. And that should do the trick on that.
So you saying that the Khan Academy and the parents taking their kids to school is not enough of them just taking their kids to school, and they should be doing at least 30 minutes after school. So you're saying school is not enough,
Absolutely.
that they
Listen,
need that?
absolutely, they need it. Listen, when my daughter went to Tapestry when it was the #1 charter school in the state.
Mhm.
They were the #1 charter school, but they were 99.9% white. All right, it was a city charter school. Okay, my daughter got in there, and what the lady told me, and I mean, black people would get mad because we can't take anything anybody say that has a tone of negativity. But what she told me is, it's our job to teach your kids. It's your job to make sure they learn it. It's your job to make sure they understand it and stay on top of it. Your child is a dollar to us, a dollar sign. And at least she was being honest. She said, but I promise we will give them the best curriculum, but it's going to be on you to make sure they keep up. And that is the honest to God truth.
And that's well put, though.
That's why back in our day, when we came home, the first thing we had to do was sit down and do our homework.
Right.
We had to do that. So yeah, man, she was straight up with it. See, a lot of parents put it on the school. My child's not learning because of you. No, your child is being taught, but they're not retaining it because of you. You understand? Children, it's about retaining the stuff. If you're sitting in the classroom with your child and your child is being taught math, and then you get home and you're wondering what's going on with you, and you can't comprehend that math, and neither can your child, it's because you are to bring them there. When that teacher finishes teaching and that child comes home, it's up to you to reinforce. I gave my daughters math sheets. It was this thing called Smart Kids. I think it's called smartkids.com. And what it would enable you to do was print out addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division sheets in sheets of 25 questions. And then it gives you the answer sheet as well. And you can start out in any number you want, like a 1-digit number, 2-digit number, up to 5-digit number. But that you can print them out and let them sit at the dinner table. If they're done with their homework, let them sit at the dinner table while you're fixing dinner and let them do the math questions, because our kids suffer from math and reading comprehension. So that's important. So yeah, man, look, I would say 20% of the teaching that's done in school is done in school. The rest of it is done at home, with you making sure they do their homework and making sure that if they don't understanding it, finding the resources where they can.
So does it make sense for parents to be buying these expensive tablets and phones and all that stuff, when I guess that money could go towards like tutoring and things of that matter?
Listen, absolutely. Listen, to me, any technology you buy, if you're using it right, is great. Tablets, everything. I mean, the only thing I say is cell phones are going to make them strain their eyes. They need something at least the size of a tablet. But go to the Khan Academy. And if they need tutoring, believe me when I tell you, you're not going to get better tutoring than the Khan Academy. They do it by video. He's up there on that video showing you how to multiply. All right, showing you how to divide, showing you why this is this and that's that. They are a tutoring service. So if you can't afford a tutor, or even if you can afford a tutor, go to the Khan Academy first. Believe me when I tell you, just click on Khan Academy. I think it's khanacademy.org or .net or .edu. It's one of those. But Google it and go there. It's free. And it's free all day, every day. They have practice SATs. I mean, when you get up to that level and you know you're getting ready to go to college, get to practice SATs. You can't go wrong with that.
Right.
You can't go wrong with it.
Especially it being free, though,
Yeah, and it's free. What complaint can anybody have?
Right.
With anything being free and really just that explicit. I mean, you're talking about learning from the ground floor up, man. There are no excuses, and that's why I don't take any. People say, man, you don't allow excuses. No, I don't. Because I'm sorry, iron sharpens iron. And if that door closes, that door is going to open. I'm sorry. That's what I believe. I wasn't the most fortunate kid growing up. My father didn't believe in spending a dime on us, and we weren't in a day of resources, but we had our books. Right. I wasn't a dumb child. I was able to learn. My father made sure, even if he didn't feed me or take care of me, he made sure I picked my book up. So, God bless him for that. But yeah, like I always tell people, nobody's afraid of a black man with a gun except another black man.
Right.
But everybody's afraid of a black man with a book.
Yeah, that statement's true till this day, though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's true to this day. You got a lot of black people running to get their pistol permit. The reason why they're making it easy now is because all black people are doing is killing black people. I'm not saying we should be out there killing anybody, but what I'm saying is that's why people don't worry about us. They don't worry about you carrying a gun because you're only going to shoot your own with it. That's been proven. So wipe yourselves out. Who cares?
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And honestly, that leads me to the next subject of talking white. You know, the black people, nobody pigeonholes us more educationally than we do. When our kids come home and you ain't got none and you all this talking all of this broken, terrible English, you are doing your child a disservice because the next day that child has to go to class. They have to go to English class. They have to learn proper sentence structure, proper ways to use the word. I myself, because I got into debating people on forums, I had to learn the difference between there, and there. Yeah, there are three of them. Maybe, what is it, three of them? Yeah. T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R, and T-H-E-Y-R-E. They all mean different things. So we have to teach our kids and talk our kids properly. And let me tell you the biggest mistake black people make when it comes to them using the term talking white. You listen to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, he spoke properly. I'm doing my best to speak properly during this program. But do I sound white? See, that's where we mess up. We want to chop any black man down or black woman down who are speaking the English language properly. We want to chop them down at the feet. Oh, look at you trying to talk white. Oh, look at you trying to be white, bougie, nigga, this and that and that and this. Yeah, that's what we say to each other when somebody's trying to learn how to speak the English language properly. Okay, so now let me give you a hold on to your hats moment. Black people. Back in the day, Jesse Jackson tried to get this thing called Ebonics. That's what he wanted, our language that we claim as our language. He wanted that called Ebonics. But let me tell you where we got that. Our people come from the South, and we got that way of speaking from Southern illiterate whites. You think they came off the African boat speaking Ebonics? They were taught this Ebonics, as you put it, or this black way of speaking that we want to claim. We got that from white people, illiterate Southern white people. That's what we talk like. So we're already talking white. We're talking white when we think we're talking black. You listen to any proper English speaking person. Don't talk white. I don't sound white. Although I have fooled some people at work who I've talked to on the phone, and then they come in and see I'm black and they're shocked because, yeah, they don't expect us to use our English language properly. You know, so we need to get off the defense of that. That is not ours to claim. Once again, we acting all pro-black, claiming something we learned from hateful white people in the South. Imagine that. Imagine us being that ignorant to think we claiming this way of talking. This is ours. No, it's not. You got that from illiterate Southern whites. That's who taught us this Ebonics, as Jesse Jackson so eloquently want to put it. That's who taught us this. So learn this English language properly and try to speak as proper English, as much proper English in your home as possible, because the only person suffering from you thinking that's something black are your children, because they are in school learning how to form proper sentences, and then they come home and are deprogrammed because of the way you talk, and then they have to go to school again, and then you wondering why they can't get past a C in English class. It's because you ain't begot none. Let's not stop claiming that. Stop claiming this talk as our talk. It is not ours. Never was.
Yeah, I think a lot of people really don't keep that in mind and all that stuff. You gotta know how to separate things from what your kids hear and stuff like that.
Yes.
Because they soak that stuff in though, especially at the home.
Man, they're sponges at that age. They're sponges. They take it, and that's another thing too. We are killing our kids' formative years, the years they have genius level capabilities when they're young. They're 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the ages I tell people. Children start paying attention. You notice your child. Your child starts paying attention at 6 months. And people say, oh man, you're crazy. No, I'm not. Listen to me. At the age of 6 months, your child now know that when they cry, which parent is going to pick them up and which parent is going to let them lay there and cry. That 6-month-old child already knows that. So when that parent he knows or she knows is going to gravitate toward him when he cries, that's when he's going to start crying. He's already manipulating. At 6 months old, a child is using his brain to manipulate his parents already. It's unbeknownst to him. He's not doing anything nefarious. He is just using what he's learned. If I cry in front of dad, he's not going to come to me. But if I cry in front of mom, she's going to pick me up and pat me and give me cookies. So a child at 6 months have already deciphered how to manipulate the adults. So you cannot you cannot say, oh, they're too young. These are the sponge years. From that age, from 6 months to 23, 24, is why those are the ages they go to school and go to college. Because those are the years their minds are ready to take in that information, absorb that information, retain that information. That's why the older we get, the more we forget. When you're young, you have a tendency to remember things. And that's the ages we are killing our kids. We send our kids to school. This is the reason why right now we got kids in the 1st and 2nd grade getting expelled, because our black parents send their kids to school saying this to them: if they don't respect you, don't respect them. A child can't decipher respect. You have to teach your child to respect in spite of respect, because that respect, when the rubber hits the road, is going to benefit them more than it's going to benefit the one that's teaching them. Let's face it, that teacher has his or her degree and is making his or her money already. Your child disrespecting them is taking nothing out of their pocket, their mouths, and their day. So your ignorant behind child coming into class disrupting is only proving that in 17 years, they are not going to be worth a dime. Don't start listening when you're young. You have to either learn how to play catch up or you have to learn how to be a failure. That is it. So we're teaching our kids all the wrong things, and we're talking white and talking proper is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Let's teach our kids this and give them books. Sit them down and read to them. We have so many problems, it's hard to cover them, but we have easy fixes. Stop telling your child that they're talking white when they speak proper English. And take them to the Khan Academy so that they can keep up with their classmates and not look stupid, which causes them to disrupt.
It seemed to me like when another kid say, "Oh, you talking white," or whatever, they like are being made fun of or humiliated about just talking white. You know what I'm saying? And that's a terrible thing. You know, when kids is starting to say that to kids, or whatever, it's just a virus.
It is. It is a terrible thing. And it is a virus in our neighborhood that we just can't seem to kill. This thing has been going on for generations and generations. And I had to learn that this was all wrong. You know, the fact of our people yelling at our people for speaking the English language properly. That's not talking white, these ignorant people. You know, talking white is what we're doing right now. So our kids need to learn. They need to learn, and school is the first place. And you got all these people, these black people now are starting to rebel against school saying, oh, this is just something the white man is teaching. Listen, the English language, sciences, mathematics, those things are constant and they're a mainstay. They don't change. Math will still be math no matter where you send them. No matter what they do, no matter how old they get, math will be math. So it ain't that's white math. See, white math is 2 + 2 = 4. See, black math.
And that's what I think, though, too. You know, I think we had talked last time about Black History Month. I think that crippled us because we only want to learn something during that particular month or whatever, when we should be constantly drilling that in to kids' heads or whatever, how great we were.
That's right.
We
And
had the
still are.
mathematics and
That's right. That's right.
inventions and all that stuff at the age of 8, 9, or whatever,
Yeah, that movie Hidden Figures, that wasn't an anomaly. Black people are brilliant. We were born blessed by God. But just like I tell people, just like we're blessed, when we don't use it right, we're cursed. We have the capability to keep up with anyone. My parents took me from School 44 in the city of Buffalo, School 44, and moved me out to Genesee Road in East Concord. And I went to Sardinia Little School and Pioneer Central School District. Okay. That's when I realized my skin color had nothing to do with how smart I was, because I was smart. I was just as smart as the smart kids. Now, my application of it, that would be the thing that would either make me or break me, how I applied it. But man, those kids were no smarter than me. And I came from School 44, and that was, believe me, that was a ghetto school. But if the teachers are teaching, if you shut up and listen. So yeah, man, we got a lot of things we throw at one another. And this whole talking white and anything we do that white people do is, selling out and all this other stuff. I just can't stand that. I'll give you even a rapper's thing. When Hammer was one of the biggest rappers out there. He crossed over first. He crossed over where he was packing the place out with white people, making millions and millions of dollars. People like Ice Cube and all them fools, they made him feel bad. They made him feel bad for selling his audiences being predominantly white. And right now, that's what Ice Cube's audiences are. That's what all these Snoop Dogg, all these people that dogged Hammer because he crossed over, they dogged him because he sold. The whole idea of making music is to sell it and make money. But they made his a black and white thing. And then they turned around after dogging him and he sold himself out, doggone, listening to these ignorant niggas. And then they right after that, here comes Ice Cube. Are we there yet? All these movies and stuff that white people went and saw, and I ain't saying anything. Look, the dude is smart. But he came down on another black man doing the same thing he did. Snoop Dogg doing the same thing to another black man that do the same thing he's doing right now. Snoop Dogg had a show with Martha Stewart. But they're gonna all come down on him. And this is what I mean by that. We don't even allow our own progress for dogging each other because we talking white, acting white. Got white people coming to your shows, white people this and white people that. And black people consider that selling out, which is ignorant to me.
That brings us on our next topic, cooning.
Yes.
So what's up with cooning?
I was watching a TikTok, and it pissed me off because this is when I wish I had 1,000 people following it. That's what I got to do, Malik. I got to upload those videos. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, you got to upload those videos.
Yeah, I got to upload.
We got loads of them though too.
And listen, is there a way for you to bring them to me on a flash drive at work? Because I think when I upload them on this Mac, they turn into a different format, and I gotta I gotta use them. Okay, I gotta put them up on my phone and put them on TikTok. I should be able to do that though, right?
Yeah, because I send them to your email or whatever, and you should be able to download it.
Okay, all right, that works.
Through your phone or whatever, and then that's that.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was watching this TikTok video where this black woman was hosting it, and one black dude mentioned about the number of killings that go on every year in Chicago. And the first thing she said to him is, oh, those are white supremacist talking points. See, that's what you cooning. Nobody care nothing about that. We should care. We lose 400 to 500 black people a year in just Chicago alone. But she called the black dude a coon because he brought that up. But let me tell you, listen, before I say anything stupid about that woman, listen, it's the chicken and the egg. Is it that that's a white supremacist talking point, or is it that we do it and then they talk about it? That's what it is. We do it because if we weren't doing that, they wouldn't have it to talk about. So we give them that to talk about. So what's more ignorant? The guy that notices the amount of killing and counts out and talks about it, or the ones that are doing the killing? Why do they get a pass? Why are they not coons and sellouts? Why is it that black on black crime goes unseen. As a matter of fact, black people have gotten into saying there's no such thing. Well, okay, I see what you're trying to say. But once again, that's the most ignorant fight. We always come up with the most ignorant fights. I liken that to the crack fight. Black people got mad because you got more time for crack than you got for selling cocaine. My thing is, don't equal them out. Stop selling crack. How about that? How about stop selling crack? Okay, so how about us stop killing each other? How about that? Because it is black on black crime, regardless of whatever way you want to describe it. I mean, because let's just face it, if we were all doing our stuff in our community properly, and we were helping one another as a community and doing all that, you know what that would be? Black on black love. You understand me? So you can take one thing being said one way, but you can't take one thing being said another way. And to me, that's just that ignorant BS that we get into using to defend our stuff. When you listen to the ignorant MAGA people, when they say ignorant stuff, you don't sound any smarter. You don't sound any smarter when you think it's okay to come down on the person who wants us to settle the problem of us killing one another and wants to have dialogue about it. And sorry, it's just like the black dude told me, man, we don't mind what you say, man, because you're definitely speaking that knowledge. But we mind that you speak it in front of white people. And my thing is, first off, white people are the ones keeping statistics. Okay, so they know exactly what we're doing. They know exactly the percentage of young black people that are failing school, and they also know the percentage of them that are passing that can't read or do math or spell on their grade level. They know all of that. They're already keeping statistics. So we're not hiding anything from them. You know, I kept it quiet because I didn't know how else to put that out there. But about me and my boy got into the discussion about Black Lives Matter, and I told them the movement was wrong, and I told them what we should have done. And he said, man, black people ain't gonna do that. And see, that's the problem, because we won't do that, because it interferes with our way of life. But I have an answer for that. And we're going to talk about that on one of my programs, on one of the programs we have that talks about the Black Lives Matter movement. Because that, to me, that was a feudal organization. I've been talking about this for years, and all they did in the long run was prove me. They proved me right. Now you got some people still trying to pick that up and carry it around. Please, until you talk about the Black Lives Matter when black on black kills blacks, I don't want to hear anything you got to say, because you're only calling it out when whites kill a black. Anybody trying to hear that mess? I think it's more important. I feel bad. I feel worse when my brother breaks in and steals something from me than a stranger. I expect a stranger to do that. I expect hateful white people to be hateful. I don't expect any common sense out of them. I don't expect to go sit them down at the dinner table and talk them out of being hateful. I always tell people, you can't legislate hate. Hate is God's job. Our job is to correct our mistakes and to correct one another doing it. Back in the day, when they talk about a village raising a child, back in the day when Miss Williams could yell at your child going out in the street, and your child would have to get out the street, and you would go out there and say, thank you, Miss Williams. I got it from here. Take that child in the house and whoop that butt. That's a village raising a child. That's what we all need to be doing. But whenever we talk about our stuff, the stuff we do wrong, whenever we talk about it, black people are the first ones to get mad. You know, I had a TV program called Black People, What Are We Thinking? All right. And when I would go to the grocery store, you know who I got most of the pats on the back from with that? White people. Because white people, and they weren't saying, yeah, straighten those niggers out. No, that wasn't what they were saying. They would always say, Roy, just love what you're saying. But you got to understand, white kids are doing that too. White people are doing that too. And I told them, I said, listen, I understand that. You see, first of all, I didn't even want them watching it because it's solely for us. I made my show solely for us. But I told them, I said, your white kids are not killing each other off at record numbers. I mean, there's no movement in Buffalo that should have us killing one another, but we do. There's no movement here. There's nothing going on here so great that we can shoot somebody in a club because they said something to your woman. If your woman is fine, you should be glad that other people find her attractive enough to want to say something. But trust that she's going to put that in check, and anything disrespectful happens, that's when you step in. But we will shoot somebody for saying hello to your woman, or oops, make a mistake and bump into you. Just anything. We don't even need a reason. We're already angry enough to shoot. I just need an excuse now. That's the way we live. And so we can't talk about that, because if we do, we're cooning. You're cooning if you go out there and try to get a job instead of you wear a suit and got a briefcase and you're going to get a job. Look at that sellout. Look at him. Who he think he is? Who does he think he is? He's the person helping hold up our communities because you're not paying taxes. Somebody has to pay taxes. Somebody has to be a homeowner. Drug dealers are not doing that. Drug dealers are saving bail money. And those who think they have gotten away with something, I believe in Christ. And I believe you reap what you sow. So if you think selling those drugs and poisoning somebody else's mother or father or making it hard for kids to eat because you're selling their parents drugs, if you think that that's okay, watch. Just sit back and watch. We take all the wrong ways out and call it black. It's okay that we go to a club and act a fool because that's black. But if we sit around properly and everybody talk at a reasonable pace and sit around and eat and enjoy ourselves, man, what y'all think y'all think y'all white up in here? Why is proper anything considered white? Proper English, speaking proper English is not talking white. But if you talk that in front of black people, you're cooning. You're cooning. Let me tell you what the one thing that really got me on this. Steve Harvey, when Donald Trump got into office, Steve Harvey and Jim Brown went to go meet with Donald Trump just to kind of talk to them about stuff, black community stuff. Snoop Dogg and T.I., both of these ignorant niggas, gonna sit up here and talk about, look at them sellout niggas gonna go talk to Donald Trump. Look at them sellouts. They sell out. They're turncoats cooning to Donald Trump. But both of them understand now, you don't have a seat at the table. You don't get anything. I don't care if the seat is bad. If you don't have a seat at the table, you don't get anything. Like I told them, Snoop Dogg was on trial for murder. Now, whether he did or didn't, it was the murder of a black man. You feel me? What's more cooning than that? T.I. got caught with a trunk full of guns. You think those guns were going to kill white people? Nope, those guns were going in the hood. All right? What's more cooning than that? But they had the nerve to call Jim Brown, of all people, who has been nothing but pro-black all his life. Go look it up. Jim Brown, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, doggone Bill Russell, all these people, they were advocates for rights for blacks. They fought the real fights, while these ignorant black people who reaped the benefit of the fight they fought, acting a complete fool out here, and got the nerve to call them sellouts. And that's what made me mad. It's not cooning to do things right. We got to get out of that. It's not cooning to say our problems are extensive and they're killing us. They're killing us first. Listen, we are dying so many deaths, it's not even funny. We're dying educationally like you wouldn't believe, and this is across this country. It's not just here. Fortunately, we have a child or here and there that are planning to go to college to do something. But man, they are peeling through because our kids are, so let me tell you what our kids go through every day in school. They go to class. You got at least 10 people in class that can't keep up. So they disrupt. So it takes the teacher 40 minutes to get the class under control. Now she's got 10 minutes left to teach your child. Now your child's been quiet all that time waiting to learn. But for 40 minutes, they haven't been able to taught anything because of ignorant doggone blacks who don't think they owe it to anybody but to be disruptive. And that's what they do. So we are killing ourselves educationally. And I mean, it's by percentiles. Okay. We are precipitously failing in schools, dropping like flies, man. All right. Then after the educational murder, you have the criminal murder. They want to deal drugs. They want to do everything wrong to make their money, make their hustle, deal drugs, back in my day, pimping, all this other stupid stuff. So all they're doing is slowly but surely painting their line to prison, which is why the prison population for blacks is like 95%. Now, I could be wrong, all right? So don't come yelling at me because I got that wrong. But If you ask most, because I have a white friend that just got out, and he said, man, white don't mean nothing in prison because you are absolutely the minority. All right. But that ain't a good thing. That ain't anything to smile about. The only place where a majority is in prison. What kind of stupid stuff is that? Do you know we can be a minority in this country and still be the majority of intelligence? But we don't gear ourselves to that. We don't gear ourselves to that thing. We are killing ourselves. Now, the final one, murder. We are killing ourselves physically. We are dying. We're dying because we're killing one another. These are the deaths that we are producing in our communities. Ignorance because of lack of education. And because when you don't have an education, it's hard for you to get a job. You don't get a job, guess what? You're going to find other backdoor ways to make your little loot. Because one thing you are doing is you're having sex and you're having babies. And that baby's got to eat. So the poor woman goes and gets on social service, or she's gone to college and she's carrying the full load because the dude ain't worth a dime. Because he's mad because child support is taking his Walmart check. All right? They're taking most of it. So now he's pissed, so he quits his job. Look at how the domino effect is happening with us. All because we don't want to talk white, so education takes a back seat. We don't want to dress like a businessman, have a good businessman's job. So there goes making any money and having a strong community for our young people to see our working class Black people. Our kids need to see working class Blacks. That's why I don't get it. Back in the day, I may have understood Black people wanting to move in white areas because they wanted to kind of prove a point. But right now, Black people who make money need to stay in the hood because our kids need to see examples. So no, I do fault us for moving out of our communities just because of what's going on now. All right. But people say, I move out because I want my kids to go to a better school. I always tell people, we have one city honors here, one building called City Honors. But every building could be a city honors. Every building could be a city honors if we shut our kids up and make them learn. But you know what that's too much like? That's too much like cooning. Our kids getting good grades in school, to a lot of Black people, is cooning. And they've even put that in their kids. And so now their kids go to school and they call young kids who want to pay attention and learn in school coons. They're taking their homework and ripping it up. I know this for a 100% fact. Taking their homework and ripping it up. So these Black kids don't stand a chance. The Bible talks about the kingdom of heaven suffering violence and the violent take it by force. People say I use that scripture wrong, but I use that scripture verbatim. Violent people take it by force. That's the way they do it. That's why you got all these white nationalists. If nothing else, they're gunned up because they're cowards and they need their guns and they're gunned up and they want to take it by force. That's what they're doing. And that's what dumb, ignorant, young Black kids are doing in classrooms. They're taking away our good kids' educational process through ignorance and through force, stopping the learning process. And then to top that off, it ain't enough that they do that. Now here comes their ignorant doggone mamas running up in the classrooms like that ignorant woman that ran up there and snatched that pride flag down in that guy's classroom. That was an ignorant Black woman who should not be celebrated for anything. She is ignorant. She said, I teach my son not to. Well, if you teach your son, then why'd you have to go in there and snatch that flag? And if that woman has a pride flag up, she will also have a Black Lives Matter flag up. So who are you attacking? Ignorant Black people go in schools and yell at teachers because the teacher can't do anything with their kids. And they try just for a minute to inflict some disciplinary something. Go to the office, go sit in the corner. Then the kid go home and teacher doing this to me because I'm Black. I hate this. I hate this whole cooning thing. Or the teacher, he failed me because I'm Black. And here come the parents not paying attention to the fact that they allowed their child to not ever do any homework, to not do any studies, to do nothing but what they want to do when they get home. No gearing, no guiding, no raising, no leading. And then want to get mad when what's supposed to come from that, when you don't do those things, what's supposed to come from that when you don't do those things is coming. Your child is on his way to going nowhere fast, and you're mad about it. But you are the one at fault, because to you, it's cooning to want to be smart. It's cooning to want to learn.
At what year would you say we started this whole word of cooning, which, de-evolved our people?
Okay, let me see now. I would have to say the term cooning, because it just went from Uncle Tom to cooning. That's all. And it went from Uncle Tom to cooning. And
right.
Yeah, and so
that makes sense, right?
Right, cooning is just it's just a new age, like this young people's way of saying Uncle Tom.
Right.
And see, what Black people need to understand is, coon is a word that white people called Black people. That's what they called us. It was derogatory, just like nigger. All right. So now here we are once again, picking it up and calling each other that, just because I want to be somebody. Just because one day you're going to want to walk into a hospital and have a Black doctor wait on you, because it is being said out here, and there are doctors who have said this and doctors who have heard this, that there are many doctors out there who don't like Black people. They don't like Black people. So God, even going to a hospital is a crapshoot. This is why we always need to stay prayed up. When you hear white people, white doctors talk about how much they don't like Black people and how they are all part of that white nationalist movement, these are doctors that when you get sick, you go to the hospital. You think the Tuskegee experiment was a singular experiment? They've been experimenting and doing stuff to us for decades. We are fortunate when we go in there and we come out having been healed by somebody who actually cares. My mother, she was 80 years old. She told my niece, they kill old people in hospitals and they kill Black people in hospitals. My brother walked my mother into the hospital last year on October 15th. No, October 15th is the actual day she died. On, let's say, October 10th, my brother walked my mother into the hospital. 20 minutes later, she was in full. My mother walked in laughing and joking with my brother. It was supposed to be just a procedure, like the doctor told my brother. Oh, she'll be back home tomorrow. She'll be, kicking and laughing tomorrow. 20 minutes later, my brother's phone is going off. They stuck something in my mother and sent her into full cardiac arrest. And from that moment on, she was dead. They just hadn't pronounced her dead. But by the 15th of October, she was pronounced dead. A formality she went in there for. It's a basic thing. And so now, when we need a Black lawyer, we don't have many, because we're killing our children's opportunities to learn. When we need a Black doctor, we don't have any, because we're not training our kids up to be anything. And if you are being trained to be something, guess what? You're now a coon. That's what you're being called by ignorant Black people who don't like Blacks being called out for the stuff we do wrong. Like me and my boy always got into the argument, the we argument. Right now, you see these videos that these mostly girls are showing in Walmart when their carts are being reviewed. The manager is going through their carts line by line, looking to see if everything in that cart she paid for. And oh yeah, Black people are up in arms and mad. But we didn't say anything to the Black people that led up to this, because you know what the Black people that led up to this. And my friends say, man, white people do it too. White people ain't held to the same standard we are. All right. But when Black people go up in Walmarts and the Home Depots and all these places and load their carts up with stuff and just push it out the door, now we're mad when we're scrutinized. That's when I say we pay the price for the actions of the ignorant. And somebody call you a coon, and because of that, you want to drop out of school because you think you're letting the Black community down because you want to be smart. That's what they're telling you. You're letting the Black community down because you want to talk about how we are killing one another. You're letting the Black community down. You're a sellout. You're an Uncle Tom because you remember the numbers of people that were murdered in Chicago the year before, and they are on the same path now. And every year, I was doing my TV shows years ago, and I was counting the Chicago homicides alone. I didn't have to go anyplace else. In California, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas City. I mean, all these main places where Blacks live were suffering the same problem. black on black crime. Oh, I mean, cooning. Yeah, I hate that, man. I hate that. All the brother wanted to do was talk about the numbers of black people who are killing black people. And then ain't no such thing as the term black on black crime. That was made up of shut up. If you got no intelligence to offer to the conversation, take your broody poop behind on. Go stay ghetto. If that's what you want to do, go do that. And you want to make sure you raise a next ghetto generation, that's your business. But I'm talking to black people who want to be something. This whole program was dedicated to us understanding what we owe to the educational process and to one another. Because there is a thing we owe one another. Like I told people, that girl that got beat up by that cop at McDonald's that everybody's right now all feeling sorry for, that girl was terrorizing our neighborhood. We had to live with her. For all the people, this woman told me, I don't care how wrong she was. No, that cop got what he deserved. That cop punched her in the face 3 times because she was resisting arrest and in there fighting. But they had to call the cops on her for a reason. And I tell people, that girl don't live in a white community. She live in the hood. We're the ones that have to deal with her. We're the ones that have to deal with her ignorance. We're the ones that have to deal with the fact that when our young people want to drive and stop in the middle of the street and talk to their homeboy and we can't say anything to them or blow the horn or anything, or you're liable to get shot. But if I say that out in the open, then I'm cooning or saying white supremacist talking points. If we give them to them, then they're not their talking points. We give them to them. Sick of that ignorance.
So you're saying being silent on these issues ain't the way.
No,
that's not how we correct the issue, right?
That's right. Because, I mean, doggone it, man. If we're silent, then, I mean, who knows what? I mean, somebody has to be told something. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you risk everything by saying something to us. But doggone it, man, there are some kids out there that need to be rescued, that want to be smart, that want to learn, that want to be somebody. And there are a group of black kids in these schools that are stopping it. And back in my day, there were 5 people in the whole school, in our whole school class, our whole school grade, 5 people, and everybody knew who they were. And they were the mess ups. They were the dudes that didn't want to know anything. And the rest of us wanted to learn. But those numbers went from 5 people to half. Now, half of the students in school don't want to learn anything. Got somebody at my doorbell. Yep. So hold on one second. Let me get this, man.
All right.
Yes, sir. Keep them occupied, Malik.
Yeah, so what he's saying is completely true, though, that we are feeling and we need to do better as a people. Things need to be said and no more silent treatment. A silent treatment is just damaging our whole community all throughout the country, the United States, anywhere we go.
Yes, sir. This is from my neighbor, Queen B. I call her Queen B. She's Donna Habib. And I'm gonna tell you something. I believe that when God led me to this house to buy, he didn't just lead me to the house. He led me to the neighborhood. And he led me to me, what I believe is one of the most beautiful people spiritually. And the most beautiful people you ever want to know. And her whole family, when I tell you, this woman's got a big family. And they are all the most decent people. No punks and pushovers. Don't get it twisted. But the most decent group, family of people you'll ever want to meet, man. I've never been so blessed. And so she brought me a black and white cookie. Oh, Queen B, she brought me a black and white cookie. But anyway, and I mean, when I talk about a pro-black woman, when I say she stands up, man, she stands up, boy. Love her to death. And she always loves my talks and my programs and the things I do. So I told her, I said, I'm in the middle of my podcast right now.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I just tell her. But I love her so much, man. And she is just wonderful. And she is, her and her family give me hope. They give me hope that we got some decent people in our communities. You know what I mean? And like I said, she got a whole family over there. And I think she had, let's see, I can't even count on 1, 2. She got like, I don't know, 7, 8, kids, sons and daughters. And they are like 6'5" and 6 big. So they might, you people might know him. Q, Kadir, he raps, and he's one of those rap about the black cause brothers. But that's his mother. And Zaima is another one who sings a lot of she writes a lot of black conscious songs and stuff. It's just a beautiful family, man. But anyway, yeah, she knocked on the door and gave me my black and white cookie. And I told her, I said, I'm doing my podcast. She immediately walked off my porch. I said, okay, you don't have to run. Yeah, but just sweetheart people, man. But yeah, she hears me talking. She, like when I was talking about anytime we protest and we boycott something. When we boycott, we can't set a time. Like I told Queen B, she said, Roy, I'm handing these things out, and they were going to boycott something for a day. And I said, Queen B, first off, we're letting them see the punch coming. Okay, first we're posting it. I don't know how we get to one another, but black people need to be taught and told in silence that this is what we're doing tomorrow. But I tell people, you can't boycott for a day. That boycott needs to happen. You need to find someplace else to go. Let's say if you're boycotting tops, then go to Walmart. Find a way to get people there, bus them there, do whatever. And I'm just making an example.
Right.
If you're boycotting this supermarket, then everybody get help to get to the next supermarket. Boycott them for a period of time, not just a day. Because just like when they were talking about, we're going to boycott gas for a day because the gas price is going up. Well, the gas company know that eventually you're going to have to come and fill up. And so they just keep it like it. That's right. So when you don't have to do something, it's just like when black people bus boycott. That's what man, I got to talk about this on another day. But I hate when black people talk about what they will and won't do. The black people before us, they suffered big to give us rights. They suffered big to get us rights. And these rights we are trampling all over. We owe more than that. We owe more than that. Those black people, see, they would call them coons. Those black people, Martin Luther King wasn't nothing but a coon. Man, y'all just don't know. Y'all just don't know. And black people made it hard for him because the Huey Newtons and all them, Stokely Carmichaels and all them, Malcolm X's called him an Uncle Tom. Called that man an Uncle Tom. And you know what? He's the only person that got any legislation. Malcolm X got not one piece of legislation signed. Not one. Yeah, they use his picture with his finger on his face, but that's it. That's all he had to offer society for posterity. All right? Now, we can teach our young people what he stood for. But Martin Luther King, not Stokely Carmichael, not Huey Newton, Huey Newton, none of them dudes, none of them black activists that thought violence was the way. All they were going to do is get all of us killed. None of them. No matter how many arms they bared or nothing, none of them got any laws. Martin Luther King, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act. And honestly, I hate to tell people this because they said, it still ain't working. You know why it's not working? Because we didn't help. When we don't give people, like let's say this, okay, for an example, it's harder for a cop to have gotten away with beating up a young black man who's in his second year of college and don't have a criminal record. It's hard to get away with doing that to that young black man. It's harder. I ain't saying it's impossible because the laws is where the racism is. I always tell people there's prejudice, bigotry, hate, and racism. Prejudice is when you look down the street and you see 3 white guys walking, they got leather jackets on and they got skinheads, and you think they're white supremacists. And then by the time they get up to you, they say, hey man, praise the Lord. And then that's when that prejudice is now become knowledge. Now you're saying, oh man, wow, I prejudged them wrong. You know what I mean? Bigotry is when my friends, when I grew up in Chafee, my friends were told by their parents that black people grow tails at midnight. So they knocked on the door at 11:55 and asked us if they could see our tails. We stayed outside until after 12. They saw no tails. Now, if they proceeded to tell their children that we do grow tails after seeing that we didn't, that's bigotry. All right? Hatred is when, like I said, like I tell people, the example of hatred is them hanging us by the neck, cutting off our body parts, sticking them in our mouths, taking them, taking home toes as souvenirs. That's hatred. When you can take another human being and don't care how you kill him, that is hatred. Racism is not one of them served a day of time for it. That's where the systemic is. That's where the racism is. Racism is when you couldn't get fair treatment. I always tell people, Abraham Lincoln didn't free us. Abraham Lincoln let us go, because there's different. You get with being free, there's protection under the law. We were never protected under the law, so he let us go. But then they just came and hunt us like cattle. You understand? So people mix those things up. They say George Zimmerman was a racist. No, he wasn't. He didn't have the power to be a racist. That system that got him off, that he didn't have to serve a day for murdering that poor kid, that was racism. You understand? Okay, so people have to understand the difference between racism, bigotry, prejudice, and hate. They are all different, but they all will line up if they ain't corrected.
That was well put, though, comparing all those or whatever, because I guess people don't understand all of those.
Yeah, we get them wrong. We use them wrong. I just want people to know, you calling some poor white person, and I mean poor, like money, no money, poor, broke, hateful white person. He ain't a racist. He's a hateful, because he ain't got the power. He don't have the power to get me out of my house, to get me up, to get me fired off my job, to make me have to pay more in taxes. He don't have the power for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the laws out there that redline us, that won't give me insurance on my home, or will make me pay more just because I'm black. That kind of stuff is racism.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got to learn how to use that stuff right. Yes, sir, man. So
I think that covered everything for today, though. We ripped right through that.
Yes, sir.
That was real good, though. That was real good information, though. It had to be said.
Yes, sir. Had to be said. And I want us to understand, just like I said at the beginning, I know you're not going to like everything I say, but I say it because I love us with the love of Christ. That's everybody. But I'm saying, I always tell people that it's particular with black people, because we are just in so much trouble and we don't see it. And the biggest mouths out there are the most ignorant black people.
Right.
We need to see where we're headed. And we need to see that what we're doing is not getting us there in a good way. We need education. Our kids need to be educated. We need doctors and lawyers in our communities. We need those. Nurses, RNs. We need these people. Carpenters, plumbers, sheet metal fabricators. You know what I'm saying? Steam fitters. We need these people in our communities, because we don't know when it's going to happen, but one day everybody's going to start taking care of their own. And we're going to pass out.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't push education, and we don't have doctors. We don't have nurses. We don't have lawyers. We don't have those educational, functional people that can help us and navigate through our things. You understand? That is the most
cooning.
Yes, indeed. Because that's cool. That's cool. Shame on us, man. Shame on us for doing the things we do to one another. Because when that woman called that black dude a coon, all she did was stifle the words of yet another black person. He was making a valid point. You may not have wanted to talk about it, miss, but he made a valid point. You got doggone 400 plus homicides, black on black, a year in Chicago alone. We can't afford to lose any more of us. We can't afford to. And in the meantime, other races are coming here, taking the things that Martin Luther King fought for us for. Our civil rights people fought for us for, because we don't want to take advantage of it because it's cooning. We got a lot of things going bad with us, man.
We definitely have to do a topic on Martin Luther King versus Malcolm X or whatever.
Yeah, and I hate to say, just like you just said, I hate to say versus, but that's what black people do.
Right.
They Ice Cube got a song out. He did a song with his son. Okay. And this was not too long ago. And I was telling people, this just goes to show you, these niggas don't learn. He did a song. If you're a punk, go to church. If you're a man, get your gat. Now this was his lyrics. If you're a punk, go to church. Now, what Ice Cube don't understand, and a lot of black people don't understand, regardless of whether we like it, believe it, or not, our footsteps are ordered. Our footsteps are ordered by God. In this country, we were a people set aside to show God's might, his mercy, his grace, all those things that God wanted to show through us. I'll tell you a real good example of that. Real good, real fast. We lived a block, we at the corner of our street, lived on Monroe near Broadway. On the corner of Broadway and Monroe was a corner store. And this white man owned it, white Jewish guy owned the store. And my mother would go there and she would buy our lunch meats and stuff. And one day he asked my mother, "Why are you so happy?" My mother said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Why are you so happy? You poor, you don't have anything. You know, what do you got to be happy about?" My mother said, "I don't know, I'm just happy." Okay. My mother goes there one day, buys a pack of pork chops. Buy the pack of pork chops, bring the pork chops home, cook them. No, she smelled them. They smelled rancid. She takes them back to him. He takes them in the back like he's getting more pork chops, bring them back out, wrap them back up, give them to my mother. My mother comes home, she cooks those pork chops. We all get sick. What she found out is the man rubbed the pork chops down with baking soda.
Oh,
and
wow.
That takes away rancid smell, right? My mother said not too long after that, she went down to that store and she saw the wife behind the counter and she said, "Oh, where's Mr. Bill?" or whatever his name was. And the wife did one of these numbers, like over there. And my mother turned around and there he was in a wheelchair, had lost like 200 pounds, and he was dying of cancer.
Wow.
He looked at my mother like, "I wish I could just have a day of life of your life, just any life." But he looked at my mother looked at him. And this is the face of the woman that he said those nasty things to and did those nasty things to. God has a way of paying evil back in a way we can't. Like I tell people, when we pay evil back, we go to jail. We go to prison. God paying that back is God's job. So what we worry about is just doing right, raising our kids right, so we don't fall under that. I don't want to be cursed by God. I try to do everything right by my kids. I try to do everything right by people, because whether we like it, believe it or not, Jesus, God, he's on our side. And I mean, I ain't saying he's picking sides. What I'm saying is he has an affinity for us. He wants us to straighten out so he can prove how so few can get so much or be so powerful, be so strong. He's already shown us. We control social movement, and we're not even trying to. We control social movement, and that's a big doggone thing. But imagine controlling social movement and being smart and being intelligent, book smart, educated, graduate, you know what I'm saying? Educated people. No, we control things, but we still ignorant. We don't even understand. Pat Riley got rich off coining the phrase three-peat. Every time somebody used the phrase three-peat, he got paid. You know how many phrases black people made up? They should be getting paid. Mickey D's come from black people. So we are blessed, but we curse us. And until we get an understanding of that, we're going to keep going in this circle. Calling each other coons is just a black man's way of bringing a black man down.
Well put, though.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Yep. So how long did that show go?
1 hour and 8 minutes. So
Whoa.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, did pretty good though.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man.
That pretty much wraps up the show today.
Yes,
if
sir.
y'all do want to find this episode, you could go on keepitrealnetwork.com and you can find the many clips on What Are We Thinking TikTok and What Are We Thinking show YouTube as well. We will start to upload some episodes on YouTube, but you know, YouTube with the whole censorship, you got to be careful what you're saying, all that stuff. So we'll try to work on that though.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I try to, because I got some stuff I put up years ago up on YouTube and they made me, okay, there's some censorship stuff, but there's also copyright stuff, and you have to let them know that you're not trying to make money off of it, and they allow you to put it. But the moment you monetize,